Hey there everyone, it's Craig here and I'm going to take you through 6 features that you may not necessarily be using on your Nikon mirrorless camera. Okay, let's talk about the first one, and it's probably the easiest one as well, and that is the touch screen scroll when you're reviewing your pictures or your video. It's quite easy and simple, and there's nothing you actually need to do about it. When you're reviewing your pictures, don't go around and use the little wheel and go through your pictures that way. You actually can just go down to the bottom, and where all the information is, just touch and hold and drag, and then you'll see all your pictures scrolling across. And the good thing about this is if you've got a lot of images or a lot of videos that you've shot, it's a quick and easy way to scroll right through, really nice and quickly. Okay, the second feature is the framing grid display. Now this is really quite useful just to make sure you've got horizons lined up, you're adhering to the rule of thirds, perhaps if you're taking some portrait photography or whatever you're doing. But the framing grid display is really helpful to use, and once you turn the feature on, it will also be on the live view at the back and then also within your EVF, the electronic viewfinder. So to turn this feature on, go to the custom shooting menu, then go into shooting display. From there, go to D9 and the framing grid display. And then you just want to turn that on, and that's it. So you should then have your framing grid display on your display at the back of the camera, and then also in the EVF. The third one is quite a simple one as well, and that's the switch between the EVF, the electronic viewfinder, and the live view monitor on the back of the camera. Now there's a little switch up there just next to the EVF where you can switch, and if you just keep pushing that, it will rotate between EVF only, monitor only, or potentially it will automatically switch to between the two when it detects your eye going up to the EVF. Now as a quick watch out, as you're switching between the two, there is a sensor above the EVF. Now I found that the sensor sometimes can get a little bit of dust on it or potentially a little bit of water. And if that happens, what you find is that it might think that your eye is up on the EVF and therefore the monitor doesn't work. So you can see here when I do a little bit of an experiment with a drop of water that I've put on that sensor, it cuts out the monitor. So you can't actually see the live view anymore. So just a trick for players out there, if you're shooting in the rain or something's pretty dusty, something gets on that sensor, that will happen. It happened to me a couple of months ago while I was out in the rain shooting some cityscape photography at night, and just wipe that clean, and then it's all good to go. So that is the EVF and live view switch. Okay, let's get into the fourth feature, and I think this is a really critical one, and that is the custom control assignment. So this allows you to assign certain functionalities to all the external buttons on your camera, and this is a really nice key feature, so you can switch between some shooting modes or focus modes really nice and quickly, so that it aids in your prompt photography. So to assign functions to those buttons, all you need to do is go to the custom menu setting, then controls, then into F2 custom control assignment. For me, I love the FN1 and the FN2 buttons on the front of the camera, and I have enabled subject tracking and then autofocus selection on those buttons. So that really allows me to change, hey, I want to get 3D tracking quickly and straight away. I can just chuck on the FN1 button, and for the FN2, it's quick and easy for me to change the type of autofocus mode that I'm in. So I really enjoy the FN1 and the FN2 function features on these mirrorless cameras. Okay, number 5 is picture control for video, and this is for all you users who like to do a bit of hybrid shooting out there. Now, I highly recommend for those of you who do a little bit of video is to definitely use picture control and pick the color profiles that will most suit you. If you do any sort of post-processing for your video, highly recommend you go to at least a flat picture profile. To access this, go to the movie setting menu, then set picture control. There are a variety of options. However, if you're going to do any sort of post-processing, I highly recommend the flat picture profile. If you want to do even more tweaking to your profile that you're using for your video, you need to go into the Manage Picture Control menu. Here you can make even more custom adjustments, and then you can actually save this as a preset so you can use it all the time. And I actually use this preset a lot. I've created my own preset again where I reduce the saturation, the contrast, and the sharpening, so then I can have even more flexibility when it comes to my post-processing. And here is a side-by-side profile of my custom picture profile that is quite flat, washed out, not as much sharpening, not as much contrast versus what it looks like after post-processing in Premiere Pro. And look, the sixth and the final one is the Nikon Snap Bridge app. Now, I know there's a lot of you who, I've done a video on this in the past. It's a bit hit and miss for some people. I found the app is a little bit more stable than it has been in the past. I really enjoy it for my remote landscape photography because I can do a remote shutter release via my phone and not have to touch the camera on a long exposure. So I recommend giving it a go. It does work most of the time, especially on the new mirrorless range of cameras as well. You know, it's not too bad. So give the Nikon Snap Bridge app a go on your mirrorless camera to see how it works. I have done a video on how to pair your Snap Bridge app to your Nikon mirrorless camera, so go ahead and check that out. It can be a little bit convoluted getting to the pairing stage and getting through that and connected, but I think once it's done, it's quite a stable connection. So that's it. That's my 6 recommended features you should be using on your Nikon mirrorless camera. Let me know down below if there's any other features that are not common but you are actually using and that you would recommend other people with a Nikon mirrorless to use as well. Okay everyone, that's it guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.